Hi everyone. So, question one. I think that out of all the girls, your inclusion may have been the most controversial for any number of reasons. Did the negative opinions fuel you to soar through the competition? Well, yes and no. As far as whether I should be allowed to compete or what I was doing was drag or not, I was basically in this for myself from the beginning, trying to get validation for myself to those questions and tried not to really focus on what other people were saying because I knew this was something that I wanted to do. The thing that did get to me though was when people started saying that I was all looks and no personality, because I knew that wasn't true, but on the other hand, I knew that I definitely was more talented and more experienced in putting together looks than putting together performances. So that definitely pushed me to try and do better on the performance and personality challenges. And even though I didn't do as well as I'd hoped, I think I did well enough to the point where the people who were saying those things stopped. So that was nice. And of course, winning felt really good, especially since I didn't see any backlash from anyone really, including the people who'd spoken out against me in the past, saying I shouldn't be here in the first place. So I hope I taught some people some things about what drag is or should be, and maybe open their minds a little bit. So that feels really good. Question two. In and out of drag, you're a very creative individual. Where do you draw your inspiration from? Well, thank you. Um, as I've said before, my primary inspiration, style-wise, both in and out of drag, is clowns and the circus. I really like clowns. I think they're really interesting, especially for drag, because I feel like drag queens are a form of clown, in that they're something that's very exaggerated, but is still representing something real. So even though you've got eyebrows up your forehead and lips halfway across your face and big, weird-looking cheekbones, it's still recognizable as a character, as a female, feminine character. So I like playing with that, playing with exaggerations, caricatures, that kind of thing. I like playing with colors and textures and patterns, doing the all rainbow look, an all black and white look, mixing black and white with rainbow or with neon, mixing polka dots and stripes and checkerboards and things like that. I like fashion subcultures and researching what all the new like subgenres are of like cybergoth and steampunk and sea punk and slime punk and all those things, and all the Japanese ones of Fairy K, Cult Party, and Shino Nuri, and all that. And then I like taking the little pieces that I think are the most interesting of all the different subcultures and putting them together rather than getting stuck into one box, just kind of making my own thing out of combinations from all of them. I like eras a lot, like flappers and then 80s new wave, and Victorian and 60s mod, and then futuristic. I really like retro ideas of the future, because there's the 60s space age future, and then there's the 80s like silver and neon future, and then there's the whole cyberpunk post-apocalyptic thing. So I think that's really interesting. Um, but I basically draw inspiration from anywhere. Like, it could be anything from I like dragons, I'm going to do a collection inspired by dragons. Or I like the way that there's that iridescent rainbow thing on soap bubbles and oil stains, so I'm going to do something with that. Or I can just go into the fabric store and be like, I like that fabric, I'm going to do this. Like, that's basically what I did for my finale outfit. I just walked in, I said, I like that fabric, I like that fabric, I'm going to make something with two of those and put it together. And yeah, so anything really. And I'm always finding new things that I think are interesting. If you go to my blog, I've got an inspiration tag of interesting people and things, and I've got tons of pictures on my hard drive of just things I think are cool that maybe I'll use someday. And yeah, anything. You were not accepted onto Cycle 2 because we believed that your skills were too advanced for an amateur competition. Do you feel you had an unfair advantage for being a professional costume designer, or do you believe that skill set is separate from your drag? No, I do not think it was an advantage for a few different reasons. First of all, I made my own outfits from scratch almost every week and never won a challenge for it. Second, of the two outfits of mine that the judges liked the best, the mermaid outfits do not belong to me. They were borrowed from one of the companies I work for. And the swimwear outfit from the finale was made entirely of things I already had in my closet. I actually did make the hair bow, but that was like 3 or 4 years ago, so I don't think that really counts. That was made for something completely separate. I actually was making my own outfits every week because I thought it was more of an advantage that I had access to so many clothes already, both at home and the fact that I basically work in a drag closet. So I thought that having to spend that much time each week making an outfit from scratch would be more of a handicap than an advantage and put me more on the same level as the other girls, if that makes sense. And third, being a professional costume designer was definitely not an advantage because the middle of the competition, which is when it started getting really close, fell right during Halloween season, which, as a professional costume designer, is my busiest time of the year. And there were a few weeks there for the Snatch Game, the Cooking Challenge, and the Halloween one, where I was working like 10 to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. The only time I really had to work on it was Saturday night and Sunday before 6 p.m. So that was really rough, and I actually almost considered quitting maybe Snatch Game week, because I just thought that I wouldn't be able to deal with it, but I'm glad I got through it. And yeah, I mean, I think it could be argued that even if the fact that I was making my own outfits wasn't an advantage, that maybe having the experience of styling and putting together an outfit, being able to take all the pieces I have in my closet and make them into a cohesive outfit, I guess I could understand how that would be an advantage, but as far as the fact that I made a bunch of stuff, no, I don't think that was an advantage. As much controversy as there is about you being a professional costume maker and designer, do you think you've learned anything from TDR, or did you use the tricks you already had in your repertoire? Well, I don't really think that's what the controversy maybe was about, but either way, usually when I'm working on a project, I have a budget and a time limit, or a due date, and then I have to work within those guidelines of, how good can this be in this amount of time with this amount of money. But for this competition, it was basically, how much can I get done for the least amount of money in the least amount of time? Because it was a really hard time crunch. Like, I at most had 3 days to work on it, when usually I spend a week or more making things. So the first challenge, I draped the whole cheesecake dress from scratch on my dress form. I made a muslin, I cut it all out, I sewed it, and it took a really long time, and it didn't look that good, so I figured that wasn't really worth it. And then the other thing I learned was the importance of a good pattern, because several of my looks, the shrug and the leggings from the Zodiac, the top half of the winter dress, the leggings from the cooking challenge, the Lanesha bodysuit, and the bodysuit from the finale were all made from the same pattern. It's a basic bodysuit pattern that could be chopped here, chopped at the waist, chop off the arms. You can make pretty much anything spandex with it. And then my Divine outfit, I took the pattern from this dress. The bottom half of the winter outfit, I took the pattern from another dress I already had. and that sped up the process a lot more, being able to just alter something existing rather than starting from scratch. So that was definitely a valuable skill. So now that I'm done with my questions, you had said to hold on to our crowns because they might come back to haunt us, and I took that the best way possible. So now that I'm Tumblr's reigning queen, I have my crown. I wrote all this already, but in case some of you aren't following the tag or my personal blog, I'll just say it again for everybody. Thank you to the judges, both for choosing me as a contestant and for choosing me as the winner. This has been a great experience. I loved competing, whether I had won or not. It was a lot of fun. I'd recommend it to anybody who's considering trying out. Do it. You won't regret it. You'll learn a lot, and you'll make a lot of friends. So, next shout out is to all my sisters. You're all amazing. I've loved getting to know you, and I hope that we'll stay in touch. I know you'll all move on to bigger and better things. I'm excited to see where you all go from here because I know we've all learned a lot. And thank you to my friends and fans who have been sending me such nice messages and supporting me every week. It means a lot, especially when everyone would come in and jump and defend me, even when I didn't need it. It just felt really good to know that people were understanding where I was coming from and accepting it. And thank you, everyone, just for making me feel at home here. I was really scared that I wasn't going to be accepted, that I wasn't going to do well, and I'm glad I was wrong. And thank you for choosing me, and I'm really excited to be judging next cycle. So everyone try out, and I hope to see you there.